Hello everyone, Voodoo here. It is a Monday, which means it's time for another sim video. So this one I'm making because some things have changed again. We've discovered two pretty big bugs for Aldrachi Reaver. They've nerfed the monk buff, I guess, down back to 5%, and they also killed one of the really strong trinkets. So those things combined has again shifted things, but realistically, like, we're in a spot where things are like super close together, at least on pure single target sims for raid, which of course is not always the most accurate thing to look at, but I do want to talk about it. So we're gonna get into it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're pushing for 15,000, and with that, to the video. All right, so here we are with sims, and this is Fellsguard. So first things first, what's changed? Big thing is that monk buff was nerfed down to 5%, which should be reflected in these sims. Second thing, of course, for Fellsguard specifically, is that the uber super busted absolutely insane trinket that was for both Fellsguard and Aldrachi Reaver was nerfed. So we're down back to Pacemaker for Prometheus, as well as Cursed Stone Idol. Now there is still a possibility Cursed Stone Idol is nerfed. This is a trinket that's not really testable in PTR because the only way to get it is to actually go run the Halls of Atonement dungeon and hope you loot one, which is pretty ridiculous. But this is a hasted 1 second channel, so you use it, it's hasted, so it's never actually 1 second, but you know, where you get crit and then get more crit for each enemy you hit with the damage event. The damage event itself is not very strong, 0.1% for forecasts here, but it is something, I guess. But the crit is very, very powerful. You have 18% uptime of it. It gives you a ton of crit, and you know, you're doing a lot of damage with Fellsguard, obviously around your beam windows, right? You have it for burst, and then you'll have it again like a minute and a half later. I believe right now using it on CD is going to be better, and it lasts long enough where you basically will always get a beam during it. So that happened. Wow, I can't move my mouse. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, so Prometheus is at roughly 5.377. It is under simming. There are a lot of things that double dip with Burning Blades in game that aren't correctly double dipping with Burning Blades on sims. Like a lot of like talent stuff, as well as like the Demon Soul and a few other things. But you know, this will be a bit higher than it is right now in the sim, probably roughly around 5.4 if I had to guess. The over sim isn't like huge, but it is something. Sorry, under sim isn't huge, but it is something. And yeah, this is Prometheus. Fairly straightforward to play. You know, pretty much a lot of chaos striking. You do death sweep, but not, you know, as much. As we can see, we cast it 17 times and blade dance 6 times, so 23 times total, which isn't a ton compared to, you know, the 109 annihilations he cast, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, that's Prometheus. Nothing crazy has changed. It just got nerfed by those other things. The bigger thing is for Aldrachi Reaver. So obviously Aldrachi Reaver got hit more by the monk buff nerf, right? A lot of its damage is physical. We'll look at a breakdown after. I just wanted to compare this. A lot of its damage is physical, which means that when you lose that, it is impacted more than Fellsguard would be, despite the fact that, you know, it isn't that big, but it is certainly more for Aldrachi Reaver. The other thing is that the loss of the haste trinket for Aldrachi Reaver was more significant than it was for Fellsguard. So losing that mind fracturing odium, which right here, it only gives you like like a tenth of the haste now. It used to say like 24,000, now it's down to 2,000. This trinket is absolutely dead. It's nuked from orbit. It's a lot worse, and it was a bit better for Oppenheimer than it was for Fellsguard, because more haste means more souls, which means more Reaver's Glaze, which means more Thrill of the Hunt uptime. It's a bit of a cycle that just keeps going over and over and over and over in a bit of a feedback loop, right? So that being nerfed, obviously, of course, will also hit Oppenheimer more. Now, the bigger thing is that we've discovered two huge bugs for Oppenheimer, which I'll get to after talking about this, which is basically that Inertia is the top simming one for 1%, Exergy is 1% lower, and then Fellsguard is a no mover build. So they're all within, you know, 2% of, not even 2%, they're all within like 1% of each other basically right now, which is pretty cool. And you can play whatever you want. If you don't want to do Inertia because you're like, I don't think I can play it perfectly, Exergy is a reasonable alternative. No mover Fellsguard is a reasonable alternative. So there's lots of optionality there, which is really good. That's what I want to see. But yeah, so there are two huge bugs for Aldrachi Reaver, which we're going to go over right now. All right, I'm in game here on PTR to talk about the first bug. Now this revolves around the tier set. So the tier set for Aldrachi Reaver is that the 2-piece, what it does is it increases your physical damage by 25% and doubles that bonus for Reaver's Glaive. So all your physical damage, you know, your glaives, your Fury Aldrachi slashes from your tree here, Warblade's Hunger, melees, stuff like that. Any pure physical damage, AoE of Blade Dance will get increased by 25%, and then Reaver's Glaive is 50%. And the thing with this, and this is the bigger bug, is that it doesn't actually work with Furious Throws or Scream Brutality Furious Throws. So pretty much what's happening, that Furious Throws cause it, so every throw glaive will cost you Fury, but it will throw a second glaive at 100% effectiveness, so it'll have the same damage at your target. What Scream Brutality does is that it automatically throws your glaive for you, which is great, but also each slash is a chance to throw glaives again for much less damage. Now, these glaives do throw 2 glaives if you have Furious Throws, which, is great. However, both of these glaives, both the main one and the smaller 35% ones, the second glaive that gets thrown, the Furious Throws glaive, does not get 25% bonus. So we go up here. It's going to be a little bit of a weird thing to look at. Close this. But if I throw like a glaive at this target, and look at my damage done here, we should see that 1 crit and 1 didn't, of course. So if we get one that doesn't crit, hopefully, they crit again. The idea here is that the first one hits for more, second one doesn't hit for as much. Of course, I'm going to keep critting all of my glaives. And the same is, of course, true as well for throw glaive here from Scream Brutality, right? Like we have a min hit of 30k, max an average hit of 45k. Like it's just not working basically. It's hard to show you without actually showing the math we did. We had Azor, great guy, sit at dummies and math it out and figure stuff out. But yeah, it's tough to show it with critting. But pretty much what's happening is the first glaive gets the 25%, the second glaive does not get the 25%. It's actually a pretty sizable nerf to Aldrachi Reaver. Still works on everything else, still works on Fury the Aldrachi. Still works obviously on Reaver's Glaive, still works on our melees. It just doesn't work on the second glaive of Furious Throws, and that is the first bug. The second bug is revolving around Glaive Fury buff timing. So this is the buff you get whenever you cast Reaver's Glaive that empowers your Blade Dance. What this buff does is that it triggers the slashes from Fury of the Aldrachi, and it also, if you can see at the very bottom of this tooltip, causes the first ability to deal 10% increased damage, second ability to deal 20% increased damage. Now, what we found is that this buff actually goes away before the final hit of Death Sweep actually occurs if you use Death Sweep second. So looking here, we can see that Thrill of the Fight is applied after Glaive Flurry, which is removed at 32.117. Thrill of the Fight is applied at 32.850 in this log. Look at this picture here, which is of, the same log. And we look over here, we see this is when Thrill of the Height damage was applied, right? Right here. Now the issue with that is that the final hit of Death Sweep, 98,000, occurs with this Thrill of the Fight buff up. And we see the first hit of Death Sweep occurs roughly up here, right? Like this is when Photo starts, which is up here. We can see it doesn't have the Thrill of the Fight buff yet. What this means is that because the Thrill of the Fight buff is present on this Death Sweep down here, it means that because this buff is applied after Glaive Flurry is removed, Death Sweep's final hit is not getting the 20% from Glaive Flurry, but is getting the 15% from Thrill of the Fight. Now, this doesn't super matter if you don't have Thrill of the Fight up already going into it. It's like a 5% difference, which isn't major. But for any glaive where you already would have had Thrill up and then you use Death Sweep, where you're expecting a 20%, you're going to miss that on the final hit, which is the strongest hit by far, right? Like if we go back and look at the damage, noting that this Death Sweep crit and has a 20% gain, which is, a lot, it's still half as much as the final hit, even with a crit, even with the 20% bonus, right? Like the final hit of Death Sweep is the one that gets first blood. It's the one that does chaos damage. It is by far the strongest hit, and it is not getting that 20% bonus. Now, there are some that will get the 15% bonus where otherwise shouldn't, so it isn't quite as bad as it seems, but it is not getting the 20%, which is bad. And the other thing we found, which I don't have a good way of showing you, is that Rending Strike actually also works in a weird way, where if you Death Sweep and then immediately Chaos Strike right away, you actually do get 20% from Glaive Flurry on the final hit, and also 20% on Chaos Strike. So you're getting double dipping it effectively. You're getting the 10% on Blade Dance up until the final hit, 20% on the final hit, and 20% on annihilation, which is weird. Now that part is not actually coded into the sim yet. If we go back here, it's not actually coded into here. It's roughly 10k to game that, I'm pretty sure, which I think is worth it. Might change rotation a bit, where we always blade dance first on single target, which sounds kind of horrible, honestly, having done that before. But you know, there is weird things happening with these buffs, and hopefully by talking about it, we can get some, you know, awareness to this. But those are the two big bugs. So bugs have basically caused Aldrachi Reaver to drop back down, which means that Felsguard is currently the leading one. Now again, this is a no mover build. It's not really that hard to play. It's just talking about like when to use Immolation Aura, basically. This stuff is movement based, inertia 2.8% in perfect world where you're also using a, you know, damage proc trinket. If people don't want to play inertia, Exergy 1% below, and then Prometheus no mover is right now ahead, but if the bugs are fixed, it'll be like slightly behind. Like it's not going to be much. It won't be. It'll be like this, right? It'll be like 1% behind. So we have a lot of build parity, which is great. We have a lot of you know, choices. Do you want to play single target Felsguard, single target Aldrachi Reaver? They're all very close to each other. But once again, Havoc has found itself in a state. That was my end screen. Whoops. Where we are bugged. Where we're bugged again. They bugged us again. So hopefully these bugs are fixed. We'll see what happens. I don't even know what to title this video yet. I might talk about bugs. But those are the sim updates and the bugs. And I know I said I was going to talk about which build's best, but I think this video ran on long enough, me talking and explaining the bugs. But there you go. So again, I will update you guys if things change. I don't think from here I'll have that many more sim update videos, hopefully, unless we get patch notes, I guess. But the patch is coming soon. I believe 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now is when the patch launches. Which is pretty exciting. So of course we'll have all of the normal patch content cycle stuff that you're used to. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know, drop your anger about the bugs in the comments, I guess. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to everyone watching my videos, but especially to my channel members. Thank you Alexander Trifunovich, Rukaza, Fear Redefined, Loose Change, Jorge Polanco, Matthew Barr, Zuligan, Chocobo Merc, Gabriel Correa, Matchman 133, and Falafadar and Dark Terror. Thank you so much to everybody. If you want to join and support me in making videos, consider following the link below. I will be adding more perks to this over the summer as I get more time, including log review, which isn't available right now. But again, I do appreciate everybody just supporting me and watching the videos. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.